In this video, we will share the biggest misconceptions about XML sitemaps for SEO and tips about how to use sitemaps to your advantage. It's Clay Kramer and Mark Monroe from SEOradar.com, where we help you grow your site with technical SEO and how to monitor your site's SEO changes before Google drops your ranking. Sitemaps are a big topic and often misunderstood. We've seen all the issues, and in this video, we'll go through what people get wrong about sitemaps, some of the biggest sitemap questions, and why they are important for SEO. So first off, Mark, what do people get wrong about XML sitemaps?
Hi, Clay. Yeah, sure. Glad to answer that question. I'd say there's one primary problem that I see time and time again on websites and companies I'm working with, and that is they put their URLs in the XML sitemap, and they believe that is all they have to do to get their page indexed and to get it ranked. In other words, they don't realize that it's also important, critical, essential that they have a link path that links to that content. I see this a lot, especially on long tail sites, and the problem is that there is no page rank passed in the XML sitemap. Page rank is based on the linking structure of the entire internet. And when you link to a page, you're passing page rank or strength to that page. If there are no links to a page, you're not passing any strength to that page. If there are no links to a page, Google, they may index it, they may not index it, but it's not going to rank well if you don't link to it. If you don't link to it, then Google's going to not think it's important, and it's going to have trouble ranking. And again, I've come across this problem time and time again, and will have to explain to whichever website it is you need to have a linking structure that links to all your content. And linking structure is a big topic.
And that's an internal linking structure? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, internal linking structures. Yeah. So you need to link to it internally from your own site. And of course, the more important it is, the closer to the home page you want it to be. That's probably a subject for a different video, but main thing is need to have linking to the site. Sitemap is great. It'll expose Google to your content. It may help your content get indexed faster, but it's still not going to rank well unless you have links to it.
And then, we always get the question about priority and frequency and how important they are to set. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, my advice on that is to set them, but Google's probably ignoring them. That's because, but just cover your bases and set them and tell Google what you think is more important. But Google's going to figure out, and the reason that is because this has been around for a long time, since sitemaps have first were first defined, and people lie about their content all the time. This is really, really important, so rank it high. I would set it just to be safe. But again, I don't think it's actually going to be a big factor in terms of how often Google will re-index it. I think that's more dependent on how strong the page is, page rank. The pages that high page rank and are linked to prominently will get recached more often, and whether it actually changes, because Google knows whether your page has changed. So, and if they know it's changing often, then they'll also index it more often.
So, if setting priority and frequency on XML sitemaps doesn't really matter, and putting in a page that doesn't have, internal linking. So if you have the internal linking and you don't have it in the sitemap, so what's the benefit of even using the sitemap in the first place?
Well, it could speed up indexing because Google may find out about it quicker than the normal path. So it might index it more quickly, but it still won't rank well. So that's one of the benefits, is that it may index it more quickly.
Cool.
One of the not hidden benefits, but let's just say maybe not the most obvious benefit, is the data you get about a sitemap in Search Console. If you go into Search Console and you drill into a sitemap, they'll give you indexing data on that sitemap. So how many pages have been indexed? How many pages have not been indexed? And for the pages that are not indexed, it will give you a list or a sample list of some of the pages in that sitemap that are indexed along with a reason. This is invaluable info for you, because here you know whether the content's working and whether Google's ignoring some of the content, and also whether there are errors in the sitemap as well. So drilling into the sitemaps on Search Console is just something that's incredibly valuable, and analyzing the errors in that report, I think we'll do a separate video on that one too.
Okay, you've definitely sold me on. Okay, now I definitely need to have my XML sitemap, and I need to have it in order. So how do I organize sitemaps?
Well, what I like to do, especially related to the fact that you can get specific indexing information on an individual sitemap, is organize your sitemaps by content type or by section, either by content type or related to a specific section of your website. So, for instance, let's say you have a travel site and you've got content about cruises and flights and hotels and car rentals, and you have a lot of content in each one of those sections, and Google might treat these sections separately. So by putting them in, I'll organize them and put them into separate sitemaps. So all my car rental URLs will be in one sitemap. And then I can go in and analyze and see, is Google indexing all those pages? Are there any specific errors with those pages specific to the specific content type? This will help me. This is going to make it much easier to diagnose issues, as opposed to lumping everything together into the same sitemap, all your page types into the same sitemap. So I like to organize it by page type, which definitely will help you get some more information. I remember actually just thinking about this back when I used to work for Trulia and ran SEO for Trulia, the real estate site, and it was really important that new content got indexed very quickly. So we new houses that were for sale. So we organized. So I would take all new properties and put them in, anything in the last 30 days would go into one sitemap. Actually, we did it weekly so we could see how quickly new things got indexed, because it was critical to get them indexed as soon as they were on the market.
Yeah. I mean, I think related to that, since especially you're talking about Trulia, I'm sure you had at some time more than 50,000 new listings in a week. Like, what do you do? Because, isn't there a max size on XML sitemaps?
There's a max size of 50,000 records, and we had millions and millions of records, not just new listings, but we had actually every address in the United States. But what you can do is you get around the 50,000 limit either by creating multiple sitemaps, or you can create a sitemap can actually be an index, so it can actually link to other sitemaps. So with that hierarchy, you can have 50,000 each linking to sitemaps that also include 50,000, and 50,000 times 50,000 is 250 million. I can't do the math in my head, but it's a lot. So one sitemap hierarchy, and then basically use a hierarchy for each page type, like I talked about before, for a big site like a real estate site, and then you can get the indexing information percolating up to the index file.
Cool. So, I mean, I think another thing that always comes up is Hreflang tags and what to do with them for sitemaps.
Yeah,
you can
put them in sitemaps. You can put them on the page. As far as the impact on SEO, which is making sure that Google shows the right language page if you're a multi-language site, otherwise you wouldn't have Hreflang tags, that shows the right language page to the right user. It'll work both ways, but I prefer to put it on the page. That's my own personal preference, because then if it's my site or if it's my team site, whoever's doing the SEO can actually, when they analyze a page, they can actually see everything on the page that's impacting SEO. They can go in and see the Hreflang tag without having to go someplace else and find that URL in the sitemap, especially for a large site like, let's say, again, Trulia with millions of pages. It's going to be hard to find that one URL if you're trying to validate a specific URL. So I like to have it on the page. If you're using a tool like SEO Radar to monitor for changes and monitor that nothing's broken, it'll show up on your SEO Radar reports for that URL. I prefer to put it in the URL.
Cool. Okay. And then what are the easy ways to create a sitemap? Now you convinced me. I got to do it.
Well, often your back end might do it kind of just as an offshoot of the normal work that they do when they're creating their pages. But if they haven't done it and you need to get that sitemap out there quickly, you can use a third-party tool like Screaming Frog. Screaming Frog will create your sitemaps for you, and then you just have to submit it to Google, put it in your robots.txt file. If you put it in your robots.txt file, then you don't even have to submit it to Google.
Well, I think you've really covered all the bases about XML sitemaps, some of the biggest misconceptions, and how to make sure that we take advantage of it in technical SEO world. It sounds like XML sitemaps are great for big sites and small sites, from e-commerce to real estate. So I really appreciate you giving us our insight on how we can take the best advantage of it. For anybody that wants more information and more resources, we've got links in the show notes, as well as you can always find us at SEOradar.com. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.